I don't actually know whether this is going to work. I mean, if you're seeing this at all, right, then it must work a bit. Because I'm happy enough to waste my time trying something out and failing, but I'm hardly going to waste yours, am I? In fact, actually, let's not waste your time at all. Let me do this. Did it work? Right now, as I record this, I don't have that at all. I've got this. Yeah, funny story actually about how I ended up with a wall-mounted iPad dashboard, assuming I do, or possibly an expensive one, especially if I don't. Hello, I'm William Gallagher, and this is 58 Keys, which, as ever, as always, is for writers like you and me who use and who write on iPads, on Macs, and iPhones. Do subscribe because, there's just always so much to talk about. It's just not usually, not very often anyway, that what you and I talk about is sticking an iPad on the wall. But here's the thing. As I record this, it's April the 20th, 2022, and about a year ago, a little bit more, this died on me. This is a 2015 iPad Pro, it's the original iPad Pro, the 12.9-inch one. I bought it then, 2015, and I seemingly worked it to death. Because around 2019 or so, it started having problems. You'd tap on the screen and bits of it wouldn't react, nothing would happen. And then one horrible Friday morning in 2021, it died completely. Irrevocably, I thought. I managed to last a month, maybe a bit more without an iPad at all, and then I bought a replacement. And I'm very happy with that replacement. And I don't suppose I could be very unhappy at this iPad Pro dying after, 6 years of, really heavy use. But then 2 days ago, toddling around the office, found it in a drawer, I tried it again. Does it work? Did it? Yeah. Oh, it wants to back up things. It is working. It's in a bit of a bad way, actually. There are more areas of the screen that don't work. It took so long for the battery to charge up at all. It isn't practical anymore as a working iPad. But still, that screen looks good. I think I can make a wall-mounted dashboard with it. Show something on it. Over the next few days, possibly weeks, I just don't know yet, I'm going to find out how to mount it, how to power it, actually, since the battery, that's gone. Plus, how to make this screen show me something useful. And also, that really might be the key part of it. Trying to figure out what I need it to show, because separately, I've been conscious that I am not making enough progress on certain writing projects in my business. I'm a full-time freelance writer, and there's certain things that just are not getting done. Dashboards have been recommended to me, a way to show you what's going on or how I kind of encourage you and inform you at the same time. I don't know. But since I've got the iPad, since I've got the need for a dashboard, I'm going to try. Since I already had the iPad, the job started with mounting it on the wall, but when the mount arrived, the little kit that I'd ordered for it, it turned out to be a lot smaller than I was expecting from the images. All right, now I've used it, now it's actually on the wall there in use, it's fine. Of course it's the right size, it's not like they made a mistake. But taking it out of the parcel, I was looking for it. I was ripping the Amazon thing. Where's the rest of this? It's called a Dockham Koala Tablet Wall Mount, universal damage-free adhesive wall dock for iPads and various other things. Here in the UK, it cost me £11. In the US, the same one is $15. I also bought a 5-meter long lightning cable so that I could put the iPad up where I wanted it and still have it powered all the time, connected to power because of the battery being... Well, actually, that isn't quite where I wanted it. Really, I think I'd rather have it over there, over by my door into my office. I like to see it when I'm working, yeah, but also when I'm, coming and going into the room. But I can't get power to it over there. So the iPad had to go on this wall. I did fiddle with how high it is, but yet, well, you're not shocked, are you? That is actually eye level when I'm sitting down at the desk writing away. I marked up the wall with some pencil marks, not very well, it turns out. Popped the mounts on, gingerly slid the iPad into the mount and then fitted that lightning cable. I should say, I can't find exactly the same model lightning cable in the US, but just for example, here this one cost me £13. There's a link below, and you can find so many similar ones in the States that are all around $13. Significant thing, notice that it's got a right-angled end, so that I could slot this into the iPad's lightning port, and it wouldn't be sticking out first, wouldn't be poking out. Excellent, I thought. I am surprised to say, though, I am actually struggling to keep the iPad powered. So much so that I worried at first that the cable itself was broken in some way, but it appears to be fine. It's charging other things. Instead, it looks now like the iPad is draining the battery faster than the cable can charge it. So right now, today, on whatever day number this is, I'm experimenting with turning things off or dimming the screen, for example. But the result so far is that even though it was plugged into a lightning cable all day, even though the battery began at 100% at the start of my working day, whatever time that was, after a few hours, I was getting those low battery warnings, and then eventually it switched off, which gave me another surprise, actually. I mean, you know, of all people, you know, when I started thinking about this. It's not like I've had this idea in my head for years. I only thought of the whole thing a couple of days ago at most. But even so, that very first time that the battery died, I missed having the dashboard. It immediately become this useful, familiar part of my office, and it was gone. Not honestly sure what I can do if I can't keep the battery going. I can't replace the iPad, but I said at the start, I don't know if this is going to work out. Maybe this is the thing that will stop it. I don't know. But what I do know now is that I really want it to work. And not because of this, though. There was a third surprise that was fun. A surprise for me, anyway. This iPad is a 2015 iPad Pro. And so as I record this, it's 7 years old. And yet, by accident, I found out I could do this. I can use universal control to work on this iPad from the keyboard and trackpad connected to Mac. I can drag things between them. I can't control that iPad, the Mac, and my newer the replacement iPad, all at the same time. And I'm not sure why, because I believe that should work. 3 devices, a Mac and 2 iPads. But because it doesn't, getting into one iPad and out of the other, it's fiddly. It's fiddly enough that I won't bother all that much. But the fact that I can run this 2022 universal control feature with a 2015 iPad, that's amazing, isn't it? Day 3, 4, I should have asked you to make a note, shouldn't I? Wait, hang on. April 23rd, right? When did I start? As I record this, it's April the 20th, 2022. And thanks. So 2021, 2023. Okay, day 4. And I have some good news. I forgot that this iPad died when it was my main iPad. It's been recalled to life exactly as it was. So checking emails every 10 seconds or something. Bluetooth connections to keyboards, watch, just all sorts of things. And actually, because it kind of asked nicely when I was poking around, I also let it update to the latest version of iOS. Every bit of which is part of what gave me the low battery problem. So I did drop the brightness a bit. I can't help it. I kind of like a bright screen on things. I don't know why. I turned off mail straight away. I turned off Bluetooth as well. That does mean actually I can't do the universal control trick anymore, but yeah, I'll live with that. It was fun. But because the result of just doing those, though, the battery problem vanished suspiciously. Yesterday, day 3, it was still on 100% after 7 hours. Then after 8 hours, it was on 98%, which I cannot fathom out, because after 10 hours, it was on 100% again. Compare that to switching off, to 100 to 0% battery power after something like 5 hours. I didn't time it because I wasn't expecting it. It was something like 5 hours. I don't believe, though, that Bluetooth, especially with nothing actually attached Bluetoothily, could eat 100% of the battery. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm starting to be concerned that there's something else. I suspect the lightning port on this ancient damaged iPad. I'm going to have to watch this to see just how delicate that connection is. But in the meantime, day 4 also brought me this dashboard. I know you've seen it already, but as you've seen bits of it, it was just one that I was trying out. I also tried, actually, have a look at this, I tried widgets. I can have a screen full of Apple's own iPad OS widgets. Yeah, no. Yeah. If you go for an app, if you Google iPad dashboard apps, first, you'll wish you had a mug of tea, because it is going to take, clearly it's going to take a long time to choose between the dozens of these things. But then actually, before the kettle's even boiled, you'll know, yeah, no, it isn't. Because they're so similar. Very nearly every dashboard app, it's done for point of sale, inventory management, developers, custom applications, what they all seem to call business intelligence data. How many apps you personally have sold on the App Store in the last hour, for instance? I think you can do things like that. Lots of detail, presumably, all of it very useful to someone, big companies, maybe. Practically none of it, it turns out, useful to me as a one-man writer, one-man writing business. I actually thought about learning Swift and programming my own dashboard. Day 99, yeah, no, maybe. If you're going to go down this route of business intelligence, if you have reason for business intelligence dashboards, I don't know enough to recommend any, but I suggest that you look first at one called numerics. It seems powerful to me. It seems good. Apparently, though, I must have tried it years ago, because when I downloaded it last night, it showed me this. I am grandfathered in to what's more than the free version, but less than the paid one. It was enough for me to fiddle about with it and see what I thought of the thing, at least. Each section you can see there, just as with all of them, each section or panel or pane, numerics calls them a widget, and numerics comes with countless of them, countless widgets, that all connect into different data sources. I like that it works with Todoist, for example. That could be very useful, having your next few to-do app tasks up there on the wall. But as it happens, I don't use Todoist. I'm an OmniFocus fan. Same with Gmail, actually. Great if you use Gmail, but I don't use Gmail. I do obviously use YouTube, because, hello. And actually, I did kind of fancy having the number of subscribers to 58 keys shown here. I mean, all right, I know this is just you and me talking, but I strongly suspect that you have been telling other people about us, because that number keeps on growing. Only it's growing more than that. It's gone up more than that is showing you, just by a few, but enough that I look at this figure and I know it's wrong. So I'm not sure what the point of it is. I mean, I think presumably there's a schedule somewhere. Maybe numerics looks at YouTube every so often, that's highly likely, or YouTube itself limits the number of times a day an app can retrieve data through its YouTube API, like this. I actually suspect that it's the latter, because when I was trying to use Apple's own widgets, well, I got a YouTube widget, and actually it was even more out of date. Still, look at all of those integrations, as numerics calls them. Even with just one, right? Even with just that YouTube one, look what numerics could offer you if you paid. There is a free version of numerics if you want to try it out, but it's very limited. If you do like it though, and it is useful, well then there's a pro version, which is $10 per month. And there's an enterprise version, which costs, I believe it rounds up to, how much money have you got? That's actually a pretty common kind of price, though, for this kind of app, the Enterprise and the Pro version. But there is one that's different, well, it's two that's different. And actually, this is one of them. This is the one I'm going to be used. It's called DashKit, but you mustn't confuse it with DashKit. Seriously? Two of them with the same name? One of the DashKits in the world is an online one. So you run it in your web browser. So it can be on your iPad, it can be on your Mac, presumably you can watch it on your phone, that kind of thing. I mean, It looks good. It's very nicely designed. It looks like it has more bits that would be useful for me than maybe numerics has. But again, this one, that dash kit is really for big business. It's for tracking the sales of each of your salespeople, for instance. So if you happen to be a writer with your own personal sales team, take a look. That version of Dash Kit is $45 and it appears to be a once-off, an outright purchase rather than a subscription. The other Dash Kit, you'll find this one in the App Store. The Dash Kit I'm using, Dash Kit for iPad, that is subscription, but it's actually a really cheap one, certainly compared to the rest. Here in the UK, it's £8 per year, and in the US, it's $8.50. Plus, this version of Dash Kit, it has a quite generous free version though. Actually so generous that even though I have now bought a year's subscription to it, I may well cancel that next year. The free one is that good, and well, it's good. It's not extraordinary. It looks okay. Free or Pro, you start with a blank grid and you add different widgets or data sources. This version you see here is the one I built first, trying it out using only the free options. So there's a clock up in the corner. For example, you can choose analog or digital. It happens I do a lot of work with the ES, so I really need that New York clock there. That was just like a given. It was one of the reasons for having a dashboard. I don't usually need the UK's time as well, because I've got my watch and my Mac has it in the corner, or often, actually, if I'm running a workshop on Zoom, for example, as well as the clock in the corner of the Mac, I'll have this HB clock. But I do quite often, as it turns out, need the date. So why not? Chuck it on. I ticked all the boxes on it, so I've also got this line at the bottom, which is how far we are through the year. Nobody needs to know that. It's miserable, but you can switch it off. Whichever of these widgets you want, it works the same way. You choose them, you then drag them around the grid, you can resize them, you can change colors, and so on. This one impressed me. Now playing. It's not linked to Apple Music or something. It's not connected to anything. It's just listening, presumably using iOS's Shazam. A couple more I need to tell you about. This weather one in the corner, this is relevant because that weather thing is actually a view onto the BBC's weather website. The Dash Kit widget there is a web browser. You drag this in like the rest, you position it like the rest, and you can have it open any website you like. But for some reason, and who knows why, if there's anything like having to sign in to that website, like actually personalizing BBC weather for my location, no, it will not work. Usually you're just stabbing away at the sign in button and nothing's happening. But for example, I keep certain invoice details in Airtable, and there's an Airtable website. Not only won't this Dash Kit let me sign in to my Airtable account, it also won't let me cancel the attempt. I can't get out of the sign in page. I have to force quit the app and start all over again. So the web browser is limited. And I could get my local weather, not by saying, well, I could do it without signing in because I could search for it. I didn't have to search BBC weather every day, but suddenly I'd be working along and Birmingham, my local city, the weather would be gone. And the BBC sign in please screen would be there, so I don't have to search all over again. Okay. I actually work right by a window. You know, I could just look out, but it's honestly, the weather was just a little bit extra that made me subscribe to Dash Kit in the end. Because subscribe and you get a few more widgets, including a weather one. That's what this is, straight weather. I don't know where the weather data comes from, but it's now always there. For me, there's no sign-in stuff. It's there. You look at it, it's there. I like that. Weather is one benefit of paying. This one, the monthly calendar, is another. And then there's app figures and scriptable panels. App figures lets you connect this Dash Kit to this other service called app figures. And for a cost there, that paying app figures at a cost that's similar to the other dashboard apps, that service will then give you sales data that Dash Kit can take and display. I wish Dash Kit would explain more about what its pro features, its paid features are. Or I wish I'd realised that App Figures was a third-party separate service, so that I could have gone off and checked that out before using it to buy, before it being a reason to buy. ultimately, I think what's going to be most used to me is this other thing, this scriptable panel. But as you know, we're on day 4 of the dashboard project. I finally made the move and bought DashKit late last night, so we're kind of half a day into it. And as yet, I can't actually get any scripts to work on that scriptable panel. It's me, I know it's me, but I'll get around to figuring it out. Day 99. I'll also figure out the last thing you can see on here, the chart, the hopefully mysterious bar chart. It is a chart, you're not wrong, but this one is close to nonsense, really. Right now, that's just me piddling about, trying to see what I can do. Charts are available in DashKit, both the free and the paid versions. So even though I only bought it last night, I've been fiddling a lot over the last couple of days. Into this space, of any size or position you like, you can load a chart, which is a horizontal or vertical bar chart, or you can have a line graph, a line chart. The figures for those charts come from one of 3 places. First, you can link that chart to a Google spreadsheet. I don't use Google spreadsheets, okay, but obviously, of course, you may do. Your mileage may vary. Second, you can also link this to a URL to a web page, and I don't know how that's supposed to work. I tried actually linking it to my Airtable databases, my Airtable spreadsheety things on the web, and yeah, I wasn't having any of that, just no. And third, you can link it to a file. You can point this chart at a document, specifically a CSV document, a comma separated values document, which is on your iPad, or more usefully is in iCloud. That's what I've done here. This links to a dummy file where I've chucked in some numbers. Every now and again, DashKit will actually say, nah, you do not have permission to see that file. But every time it does it, you just say, yeah, I do, yeah, and you go, oh, and it's happy. You push a button, it redoes it. The thing is, it's just not automated. I would like it so that if look at that chart, invoice numbers. If I issue an invoice, I like that number to go up by itself. And I bet I can do it. I bet I can. But it means doing something else, creating a shortcut or a keyboard marker or some automation to edit that dummy file when something's happened. And I'm not there yet. I'll get there, I think. I think I'll get there. But I'm not there yet. So hang on, wait, day 5, 6, something like that. You've got taste. How did you let me go with these gaudy colours for 3 days? That's so much better. This is each panel in DashKit set separately to dark mode and also to have a background colour of black. As soon as you do that, it pops the text into white. Just look at that. Infinitely better. And now also the data on that chart, well, it's fudged, but it's also kind of real. It's mostly real, and it mostly updates itself automatically a bit, kind of. Each of these bars starts as a separate document, and I can update those. I mean, so far actually I've been updating it, each one by hand, a CSV file, putting the number in. Ultimately, I do plan to have a shortcut that I'll pop on my iPhone and show me what the current number, whatever it is, what the current count is, ask me for a new one, and then update these individual documents. But then, actually, this is already happening. Once a day, Keyboard Maestro on the Mac there scoops up those documents and it makes them into one spreadsheet file with them all neatly arranged. And then shortly after that, actually, typically under 2 minutes, DashKit here tries to load that spreadsheet again, the spreadsheet powering this chart, and it fails because it's a new new update. It doesn't recognize it. It tells me there's an error. I get this error message about not having permissions, and I just have to schlep through picking it out again. Same file, same way, done. It's not arduous, not ideal, but it's not arduous, and it means that at least every day the chart is up to date. And actually, it is encouraging me. I do feel like I'm getting somewhere with projects that have been stalled before. I mean, particularly this one at the end, that one's been really on my back, and I feel like I'm progressing through. Plus, I just really like the look of this dashboard. It's great, isn't it? One important thing to say, if you're going to look into this for you, I mean, I've done all of this, all that you've seen, well, obviously for me and for my writing business. plenty of other people, I mean plenty, bordering on many other people, they do all of this type of dashboard work, specifically though to control their home automation systems. They use HomeKit and they can control it through the iPad. So for example, they might have a button on there to turn on the office light, for instance. Fine. Fine if I had it by the door, maybe. They will also have a kind of security camera footage showing in the middle of the dashboard. And actually, I like that. That's more than fine. I'd have that if I could do it. But even though I do have a lot of HomeKit devices, really, I've got a lot of HomeKit lights in the house. I'm just, quite happy for them turning themselves on without my having to lean over from the desk to find the right button and tap on the iPad screen where the iPad screen doesn't always react. So I don't use HomeKit through my iPad dashboard at all. If I did though, I'd have to use a different dashboard app, not DashKit for the iPad. I said a couple of times, I think now, isn't it, over the week, that I wasn't sure this was going to work. I'm right, by the way, about the lightning port. I do have to plug it in just so. Trouble is, right now, I'm not quite sure yet what just so is, so I'm having to keep trying it and hoping. But it works sometimes. Okay, there's that. And there's also, I do want to be able to do more with it. And I think the look of it, well, it's much better now that it's white on black, but there could be more I could do, maybe. I'll keep looking at other apps, but the thing is, I already miss it when it's on the wall. I mean, just a moment ago, before we started talking, I went to check the time and I automatically looked for where it was. I mean, I don't miss it enough that I'd buy a replacement iPad and stick one there and one by the door and one in my living room or something. But if you have an old iPad already, even an old, ancient, damaged one like mine, this is such a good use for it. That's it for this edition of 58 Keys. Thank you very much for coming with me on this multi-day journey. Wasn't expecting to do this at all. Look where we ended up. You also, thank you for not pointing out that the iPad isn't quite level on the wall. That was very good of you to skip over. It's close. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself, eh? Now go write some more, and I'll see you soon.